Greetings and salutations to everybody in podcast land. Welcome to the 5th annual Never Seen It award show. My name is Trent. I am sitting here with Betsy.
It's the end of the year, and that means we have to hand out awards.
That's right. That's what everybody's doing at the end of the year, and we are no different. Betsy, we're back again. We're back to talk about a whole bunch of different categories that we have put together. This year, we're up to 15. We've added 2 brand new categories just for this year because, hey, sometimes the movies that we watch kind of dictate what the categories are. One year, we even had like most A24 movie.
Because we watched so many.
Because we watched so many A24 movies.
Yes, we are informing the nominations based around the group of films that we watched this year. And Trent, we watched so many bangers in 2025.
Holy
that
crap.
I will say top to bottom, this is the best year of movie watching that we have done while having this podcast. It was so hard to narrow down the categories that we made a change this year, Trent. We have upped the number of nominees in each category because it was so impossible to narrow it down to 3. We've gone the more traditional model. We've gone up to 5, so we're in line with most awards shows.
Yeah. So just to kind of lay the ground rules here, we have 15 categories to go over. Betsy and I have chosen our 5 nominees. In previous years, it's been 3. I have my list of nominees and Betsy has her list of nominees. This is not a deliberation podcast where we're not crowning the Never Seen It winner. This is my list and this is Betsy's list.
And we are picking from the movies that are new to each of us. So
Correct.
If I had seen a movie, then I can't vote for it in any categories, and same goes for Trent. So there's a few movies we covered on Patreon that will not be anywhere in this discussion because we had both watched them, but we talked about them on the episode.
We have an entire show on Patreon that is just our favorite movies that we've watched a ton. They cannot be considered here. This is all brand new stuff.
So it's anything that we did on the main show, anything we did on Patreon that was brand new to us as individuals.
Some other ground rules here. Throughout the entirety of the year, Betsy and I are only allowed to watch the movie once.
We don't rewatch.
We are not allowed to go back and rewatch any scenes or rewatch the movies in their entirety. That's cheating. You have to go off of your initial reaction. Of course, we're allowed to go back and re-listen to the episodes that we've put out there just to refresh our memory anyway. Because there are some moments that we talked about in those episodes that I completely forgot about, and I'm glad that I re-listened to them.
We watch a lot of movies, Trent.
We do put out a lot of content, and speaking of content, Betsy already kind of mentioned it, but the movies we're talking about are all encompassing of movies that we covered on the main show here on this feed for Never Seen It. Also, all of the brand new movies that we covered over on Patreon. That includes The Real Love Show, The Wayback Machine, Never Scream It 101, and any other random movie that we decided to throw in over there. So that's kind of the ground rules here. Let's go ahead and get started, Betsy, with one of our brand new categories for this year entitled Best New Movie We Didn't Cover.
Because this year, we actually did go to the movie theater a few times to watch some movies that we didn't actually do episodes on. We also did a guest spot on the Revisionist Almanac, where we watched a ton of movies from the year 1976.
Yeah, that's where a lot of these are going to be sourced from. We also guested on a few other shows that we might be including as well.
Yeah, so we just really wanted to make sure that because we watched so many great movies that we didn't get a chance to talk about, that we had an opportunity to address some of those.
We've had a rule in the past where, I've had a rule in the past where we're not allowed to watch a brand new movie and not cover it for one of our shows. We started breaking that rule this year for the purposes of us being on these other shows. So Betsy, why don't you get us started here? What are your 5 up? And by the way, it's up to 5 nominees. If you don't have 5 nominees, you don't have to put 5.
Yeah, it's anywhere from 3 to 5.
It's like the Academy does it for Best Picture every year. It's up to 10, not always 10.
Trent, we're never going to do the last category with 10 because I will have such a hard time.
Also, this podcast would be like 3 hours
It would
long,
be 3 hours
like
long.
the Oscars is.
But best new movie that we didn't do an episode on, that we didn't make content for in this podcast.
Yes.
My first nominee is Seven Beauties. This is one we covered with Andrew on the Revisionist Almanac for 1976. It is an Italian movie that I had never heard of, that I was like, why was this nominated for any Academy Awards? That guy got nominated for Best Actor.
Yep.
I don't understand. We thought it was going to be this hoity-toity, pretentious Italian schlock from the 70s.
Art house Italian movie, exactly.
It is so modern, so funny, so ridiculous, and I loved every second of it. We watched that, like 8 months ago now, and I have not stopped thinking about that movie, so it was definitely going on this list. My next nominee, a brand new one from this year, The Naked Gun.
Okay.
We went and saw this because I saw the trailer and I was like, yes, I am here for this chaos. And it was everything I wanted it to be and more. I have not laughed in a movie theater as hard in years.
Yeah. And just to put it out there, we don't necessarily cover a whole lot of straight up comedies on any of our shows unless they're one of our favorites.
Especially something like The Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bunch of bits. How do you talk about The Naked Gun?
You would just be repeating the bits.
The next two movies are both going to be more from 1976 from that project. The third nominee I have is the Clint Eastwood movie, The Outlaw Josie Wales.
Yeah.
This was one I had heard of. It's a Western. I didn't know anything about it. It's another one that I went in pretty blind, and I just came out of it going, God damn, does Clint Eastwood know how to make a Western? It was a great movie. I really, really enjoyed it, and I look forward to the time we have an opportunity to revisit that movie.
Yeah.
The next one is our first experience watching a John Cassavetes directed movie.
Okay.
I picked Killing of a Chinese Bookie. It's such a vibes movie. It's this weird little movie. So many people who love films, the ones that are like the diehard film people, the ones, if you've ever watched any episode of the Criterion Channel, like the Criterion Closet, it's like every other person picks a John Cassavetes movie.
Or they just take the John Cassavetes box set.
Yeah. But this is one of those movies. And it was our first experience, and it definitely wet my whistle to want to explore more of his filmography. It also really set up Ben Gazzara as an actor for us.
Yeah,
he popped up a few times.
It introduced us to Ben Gazzara as an amazing actor that we got to see, I think, 3 of his movies this year.
Yeah, he just kept popping up. Once we had watched that movie, we were like, that guy's cool as shit.
Yeah.
I love that guy. And every time he shows up now, we're excited. And the last movie I selected was Night of the Hunter. This was one that I put on by myself recently. So now, strictly speaking, I did watch this movie twice, but it's such a good one that I don't care. I'm including it.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and then we watched it together because this is another one of those people who love movies should see this movie. It was the only time this guy made a movie, and it bombed in the box office, and it has been rediscovered, and it is a beautiful, ethereal, creepy movie so ahead of its time from the 1950s that I needed you to see it. And I'm so glad that you actually did sit down and watch it with me. But of those 5, Trent, I am picking Seven Beauties. If I'm going to recommend one movie, I have been doing it about once a month since we watched it on social media. I have been recommending this at every opportunity, anytime I have a chance to tell people about this movie, because I had never heard of it. And I'd be willing to bet the majority of people haven't. And it's not like it's actually even that hard to find. My library has a streaming service, and it was available on there.
Yeah. And I'm sure most people would have had the same kind of, thoughts about an Italian movie that was nominated for Best Picture back in the 70s. They would have been dismissive of it as we would have been, but you just got to see it. So that just rolls into my list now. For my top 5 movies that we didn't cover this year, I'll just start right off. Seven Beauties is on my list because, as you said, we had 0 expectations. We probably even had negative expectations going in to see that movie for when we were doing the guest spot on the Revisionist Almanac. I ended up nominating it for one of my best pictures of that year. It did not get my win, but just the fact that we both were really pushing that, I think, took people by surprise. Also, little fun fact, the director of that movie was the first female director ever nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. Next up is another one of our guest spot movies. We covered the movie Inside Man with our friend Andy over at Fat Dude Digs Flicks. This being a Spike Lee joint starring Denzel Washington. I had really high hopes going into it, and all of those expectations were met. I was completely fooled throughout the entirety of the movie. I did not know what was going to happen at the end, and Clive Owen is also in the movie. He's really great. There's a lot of great character actors in that movie. I highly recommend that you go and watch it. Next up from the 1976 series of movies was the movie Obsession.
Oh,
now,
no.
now
You haven't brought this up in a while.
I haven't been able to talk about this movie forever. It is a Brian De Palma movie doing his best Alfred Hitchcock movie. Now, some people have a problem with that because they say, oh, Brian De Palma is just cribbing from another director. The other director did it better and whatever else. I don't care. I really, really liked Obsession. And anytime I can see John Lithgow play a villain in anything, I'm there for it. And finally, I had to put The Naked Gun on my list too, because again, I don't get to talk about comedies on podcasts any. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a Naked Gun movie. I've never even seen the Leslie Nielsen movies. So that just made me want to go back and watch the original ones. But my winner, like Betsy, is Seven Beauties. Of course. I was so surprised that I allowed myself to really, really love a movie like that. And I don't care if it makes me sound like a hoity-toity kind of a movie critic. I don't care. It's amazing. You should go and watch it.
It actually is way more accessible than you may realize.
Absolutely. Yeah. Subtitles. All you have to do is get over the subtitles and you're there.
All right, so that's the end of category 1. Those are the movies that there isn't content for, except if you want to go check out the 1976 episode of the Revisionist Almanac. We did that back in May, I think is when
Came
that
out
was.
in June.
In June, excuse me. You could also check out Fat Dude Digs Flicks, where you can hear that Inside Man episode.
Also, just a couple of runners up here. You already mentioned Killing of a Chinese Bookie. That was on my runners up. I also watched JFK for the first time. That's fucking weird. We also watched Assault on Precinct 13 for the 1976 episode. I wasn't really that into the movie, but the music, the soundtrack in that, I've said this probably 5 times already on a recording. Just go Google it. It's fantastic. And we also watched the movie Friendship in the theater too.
We did.
Anyway.
So that's kind of a smattering of stuff that we watched that didn't get an episode. But like we said, go check out those movies. All of them are worth seeing, but especially watch Seven Beauties.
There you go.
Our next category, Trent, this is a returning champion. We've got Best Hotel Movie. This is our litmus test. If we are in a hotel and there's some random thing as you're channel surfing, what are you going to stop and actually continue to watch?
You could maybe hop in the middle or 20 minutes in. You don't necessarily need to know what the hell's going on. You've already seen the movie. You know all the beats. It's a situation where, hey, we don't really have cable in the house, so we can't really channel surf. So when the opportunity arises, we can do that in a hotel. Well, guess what? This is what we could just hop into and watch the rest of it.
There's also a certain vibe usually to a hotel movie.
I would also say this is like a Saturday afternoon kind of a movie where, again, you're flipping through channels. Your dad is looking for something to watch until dinner's ready, that kind of a thing.
So, Trent, what are your 5 nominees?
Okay, for Best Hotel Movie, I put down Crimson Tide. Now, this is a little bit iffy into the category because there is some stuff that you really need to know. But you're going to see Crimson Tide after you've seen it for the first time. You're going to see Crimson Tide to watch these actors do their fucking work. My next nominee is the movie Jaws because, hey, if you didn't know, I watched Jaws for the first time this year, and yeah, there's not much more I need to say about that.
Sticking to the water.
Next one. I had to put it on here. Betsy, we covered Cobra this year, a stupid-ass action movie that we had a really great time watching. And yeah, I could absolutely just pop into the middle of it and watch the end of Cobra and have a great time. My next one is The Thing. During Never Scream It this year, we were able to go and watch The Thing for the first time in the theater. And having watched it, I think I don't care where it is that I hop in. I just want to watch the thing. I want to look at the thing. And my final one is not really one that you could just pop into and watch all of it. For one of our bonuses on Patreon, we covered Grindhouse, the Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino dual movies that are put together. It's Planet Terror and Death Proof. We covered the entirety of Grindhouse for that special. So I think either one of them would really work to just hop right into, and you're going to have a great time no matter what. But Betsy, my winner of this category of best hotel movie is Jaws.
Yeah, that tracks.
I think because Jaws is just one of those movies that is always already on cable, you can just hop in anywhere and it's fine. They don't really have to edit it down. There's no like swearing or sex or things that you really need to edit out of it, except for, maybe some gnarly photos that are included in there.
And they probably just cropped that a little bit closer for cable.
Or they cut some of the blood away or whatever. But Betsy, that's my winner. What do you got for best hotel movie?
So I also went into this thinking of what can I just put on? What would make me stop in my tracks and say, yeah, I'll watch this for a while. The first one is not one we technically did an entire episode for, but we did cover it, so I'm counting it. And that's The Disaster Artist.
Oh, God. Okay.
Because we
technically covered it.
We did, because we watched The Room, and after having watched The Room, it was still early in the day, so we decided to watch The Disaster Artist, and we basically had a mini episode within the episode for The Room. Yep. So yeah, I think if I were flipping through channels and saw The Disaster Artist on, I'd stop and watch that at least for a little bit.
Betsy, one of my runners up here is actually The Room.
But I don't think you'd actually see that on cable, and that was the only reason I didn't actually include it in this list.
I don't think that would ever happen.
No. So my other nominees, my second one is Cocoon. Something about Cocoon screams cable TV.
I think you're right. That is like a USA classic.
Yeah, something like that. My third one is also Crimson Tide, because you're right. That's the kind of like TNT, TBS, Saturday afternoon.
That's a dad movie.
Your dad wants to watch something, turn on the submarine movie. And now having seen it, I could jump in the middle and I don't care.
Yeah.
My fourth nominee is Cobra.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it is a chaotic nightmare of a movie, but it's also the best movie of 1986. And my final nominee, and you have to maybe go with me on this one.
Okay.
Cape Fear. Something about Cape Fear gives me 90s cable TV movie.
I could see that. I didn't really consider that one for this category, but yeah, I think you're right.
But of those movies, I did pick Crimson Tide, strictly because I instantaneously get thrown back to my childhood when I was like at my grandma's house in the 90s, and you're flipping through channels and you always see the same kind of things being advertised.
Yeah, it's the type of movie, not necessarily the movie itself.
Not necessarily the movie itself, because you definitely have to have seen it to appreciate it, but it is the sort of thing that I believe 30 years ago would have been rerun over and over and over again.
I think you're right.
And if it's ever on when we're in a hotel, by God, I'll stop and watch it.
There you go. All right, Betsy, moving on to our third category, we have returning champion, most surprising. Now, you could take this in a lot of different ways. It could be expectations. It could be, hey, I didn't really think I was going to like this movie. I might have been really dreading going to see the movie, or just something about it really surprised you. It's however you want to interpret it. Betsy, what are your nominees?
I'm going to start with my runner-up, because I had one runner-up that I just wanted to mention, and it's Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
Simply because I didn't know anything about the structure of this movie, how there's kind of a part one and a part two. But the end of part one is so shocking, and I am amazed that I did not know what was going to happen.
Yeah, same.
That was the thing that surprised me about it. Mostly it was that. And the fact that 40-year-old movie still managed to get me. But it is not one of my 5 nominees. So my first nominee is Judgment at Nuremberg. We got sent to the 1960s on the Wayback Machine, and this was a movie that was playing in the theater at the time we were dropped. And I thought, oh God, it's going to be this long, stuffy courtroom drama.
Yep. And in our kind of discussion about it, you had said, I've heard it's amazing. Yeah, let's go and watch it.
I filed this one now under essential viewing. I had no idea that I would be a crying mess, that I would be so impressed with the acting, that I would see this kind of acting on screen ever. Like, it's some of the best acting I've ever seen in a movie, just full stop.
Yeah.
I had no expectation that that was how I was going to feel. I thought I was going to be bored to tears. It's an amazing film. As I said, necessary viewing.
We will be talking about that in short order.
My second nominee is The Fisher King, because same thing. We watched a trailer for that, and I read the description, and I went, what the hell kind of a movie is this?
It's a Terry Gilliam movie,
It's
Betsy.
Terry Gilliam, and you read the description, and you're like, oh my God, is this going to be some kind of insane Terry Gilliam weird movie? Yes.
It is.
But also, it is so moving and so powerful, and it's a story about redemption, and it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. So it had to go in this list. My third one is another film that was from the Wayback Machine, The Elephant Man. We have not spent time watching David Lynch movies. I had seen one before this. This was your first David Lynch movie.
My first David Lynch movie ever, and the first one we had ever covered on the show.
Same thing. I thought it was going to be this like weird movie because David Lynch has a reputation. I thought it was going to be stuffy. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. I kind of didn't really know anything about it. This is another one, essential viewing for completely different reasons from Judgment at Nuremberg. But it is a movie about compassion and humanity and treating people like you would want to be treated. It is a great looking movie. The score was interesting. Everything about it was so impeccable. And again, we're going to talk about it some more, but guess what? I cried. I cried a lot. So it was going on this list. Didn't expect to be having a sobbing moment while we watched The Elephant Man some Saturday afternoon or whenever we watched that. My fourth nominee is Cape Fear, because this is a Martin Scorsese movie that I hadn't seen yet.
Yep. And just some background on you. Sometimes with Scorsese, you're about hit and miss. You're about 50-50 when it comes to first time watches of his movies.
And this was another one I just kind of didn't know about. Like, when you're talking about Scorsese, he has such a big filmography now.
Yeah.
And there's about, I don't know, maybe 6 that people talk about incessantly.
It's also kind of a remake.
And it is a remake, but it's just one from 35 or whatever years ago that exists, that I had heard existed. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know the plot. I found Robert De Niro playing against type, frankly, for him was really interesting. I haven't spent a lot of time on Nick Nolte, so that was cool to see him in this movie. Yeah. It's also going back to Obsession, where Obsession is Brian De Palma doing Hitchcock.
Yeah.
This is Martin Scorsese doing Hitchcock.
And people don't really talk about Cape Fear when they talk about the pantheon of his movies.
Exactly.
It's never really mentioned as one of his, but it absolutely is. And it is fantastic. We will talk about that more in a little bit. But what's your winner, Betsy?
I have one more nominee, Trev.
Oh, you do?
Even
Oh,
done
my
yet.
God.
Because remember, I just said Full Metal Jacket is just a runner-up.
Okay.
My last one is another one from Jeff Tember, Starman.
Ha, okay.
I thought for sure this was going to be a bad movie because, again, if you watch the trailer, it doesn't look like the kind of thing that's going to wow you, but it's John Carpenter. It's Jeff Bridges. And it was the sweetest, cutest little movie that just sort of flew under my radar. And I'm really, really glad we did Jeff Tember because I got to watch 2 of these movies of the 5, plus a lot of other great movies. But to cut to the chase, my winner is The Fisher King because there was something really magical. That was the word we kept using in the episode. It was magical and unexpected. It just surprised the hell out of me. I did not think that movie was going to be something I'd enjoy, and it was 100% different from my expectation going in.
Yeah, and I will start right there with mine. I also had The Fisher King on my list for all those reasons that you said. I really know nothing about Terry Gilliam as a film director, a film writer, anything, but I learned a whole lot with looking into the history of the movie, looking into how Terry Gilliam kind of produces his movies and writes his movies. He has a lot of rules that Like, he doesn't want to work with a big film studio. He never really wants to film in America or outside of his home country. He broke all of his rules in order to make this movie because he could make it his own. My next nominee is actually the first movie that we covered this year. That is Wicked Part 1. If you if you listen to the intro of that episode, I was really down to go and watch Wicked because this was a movie I did not want to have nominated for Best Picture. It meant that we had to go to the theater and watch it and pay money to see it.
You also knew if we went to one, we'd probably have to go
to
two.
the other one, and so on and so forth. But Betsy, I was happy to be so wrong in my assessment going into see Wicked. I was blown away by just the beauty of the movie, the creativity of everything. It was fantastic. But we will talk more about Wicked in just a little bit. My next one, Betsy, is the first episode that we did this year for the Wayback Machine. We covered the movie Love Story.
Oh!
I was very surprised that I really liked Love Story as much as I did, because think about just the title, Love Story. Well, it's probably going to be this sappy fucking story that is going to try to pull at your heartstrings, and it's going to have a happy ending and blah, blah, blah. Barf. You know, that's the attitude that I had going into that movie because I really didn't know anything about it.
And that's kind of your attitude on a lot of those kinds of movies, just because it's not really your thing.
It's not. And that's why we have the show Real Love on Patreon too, because, hey, that's your opportunity and my opportunity to watch movies that I wouldn't normally watch.
And you've loved some of them.
I have. And I will be the first to admit when I love a movie like this, and Love Story was one of those. It really affected me. It made me emotional. And yeah, I would recommend that people watch it.
It was even a viewing where I reassessed how I felt because I had seen it once before, but I felt completely differently about Love Story on this viewing. But I can't nominate it because I had already watched it.
Yeah, you can't be surprised by it. My next one is also one on your list, Betsy, is The Elephant Man. I thought The Elephant, and this is an expectation game, not that I thought it was going to be bad, but that I thought this was going to be kind of a monster movie, or I thought it was going to be, I don't know. I honestly really didn't know what to expect out of The Elephant Man, but it turned out to be this just heartwarming story. It's a real life story too, based on somebody's real life. That it was directed by David Lynch, and I had never seen a David Lynch movie. Based on what I had seen, the Elephant Man is the best first David Lynch movie that you could watch.
It's his most accessible movie. It doesn't get too into the weird weeds.
Yeah, and there's some weird stuff in it for sure, but I think all of that completely complements what the background is, what the actual story is, and how it is presented. I agree with you, Betsy, that this is required viewing. It should be shown to children as a deterrent against bullying.
To teach them compassion. Because
empathy.
I felt so bad for that guy in this movie, and just watching the way different people treat him throughout, it also raises a lot of interesting questions, like the morality of, are you any different showing him to medical people than the carny who was showing him off in a back alley?
Yeah, it raises a lot of great questions. But my last nominee and my winner is Pet Sematary.
What?
I was completely fucking blown away by how great Pet Sematary was. We did it on our show on Patreon, Never Scream at 101, where we give ourselves an education in horror. Pet Sematary is the one and only Stephen King adaptation we have ever covered on any of our shows, really. I expected Pet Sematary to be kind of a family movie that you can show your kids, and maybe there's going to be some funny animals, and maybe there's a little bit of scary stuff in there, but not really.
It's like sort of spooky, but like kids spooky.
Oh no, it's not that at all.
No, and we even picked that one because we had already seen a lot of Stephen King. So we were like, well, there's not a ton of them that we can do for this show, but we feel it's necessary to include him somehow. Yeah. And we wanted to do one we hadn't watched, but we figured, oh, this one's not going to be as good as some of his other movies.
Right, like we've already seen The Shining on another show, and we can't do some of the foundational ones that Stephen King is really known for. So let's do one that I've at least heard the name of. And yeah, I was completely surprised by how much that movie fucking rules.
I am surprised by what you are picking as surprise.
So am I. So am I. Oh, man. What's our next category, Betsy?
Our next category is the movie you most want to rewatch now. Trent,
Yeah.
what are your 5 nominees?
You got to pay attention to that last word, now.
Now.
Yeah. So my top 5. I don't have any runners up for this one at all. My top 5. Grindhouse. Because after we watched all of Grindhouse, we discovered, oh fuck, there are extended versions of these movies when you watch them by themselves.
There are full-length versions.
Yeah. Grindhouse is actually a truncated version of the full ass thing. So going out and watching that movie, when I discovered, oh fuck, there's a whole lot more here that we're missing, I just wanted to go right back and watch all of them individually. The next one, you're going to notice the theme here, Betsy. The next one on my list is The Thing, because if you listen to that episode, I came back fucking beaming after watching The Thing. I just wanted to go and look at everything again. I want to look at all the fucking puppets. I want to look at all the gnarly shit. It was just a great experience, and I just wanted to watch it yet again.
You've been longing for this day where we talk about what you want to rewatch, because after this episode, all bets are off. Trent's watching The Thing.
Yeah, next one, Frankenstein. Yet another movie that just is visually striking. I just want to fucking look at it again and listen to the dialogue. Next one, you mentioned earlier, Cape Fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one where now that you know everything, you know that this guy's background, you know what the family's background is, you know who's bad and who's good, then maybe you can pay attention to some of the other like Hitchcock stuff that he's doing. My final nominee is Dog Day Afternoon. I said in that episode that this is an all-timer for me. It affected me in so many different ways. It's a comedy, it is a drama, it is every genre under the sun, and I just was enamored by everything that I saw in that movie. But Betsy, it should come as no surprise that my winner is The Thing. I absolutely want to have The Thing be the next movie that we watch together.
Well, then let's throw it to me, because we may have some crossover on this list.
I would
Trent.
hope so.
Okay, first of all, my runner-up, I put the Grindhouse movies as my runner-up because, strictly speaking, movie you want to rewatch now. I do want to rewatch them, but what I would rather do is see the full length. So that's a tiny distinction.
Yes, that goes without saying. I want to see the full versions again.
And I'm going to mention this one simply because I had it in another category, and upon thinking about it, I moved it out and I put it into this one. We watched Rosemary's Baby this year.
We did.
And I thought, you know what? I don't think I get it. I thought this was supposed to be a horrifying movie. It was going to be really deeply affecting, and it kind of fell flat for me. But what I've discovered is that since watching that movie, it occasionally pops into my head, and I find myself thinking about Rosemary's Baby. So I kind of bumped it into not quite now. I don't want to rewatch it now, but I do think I want to rewatch it.
I am in the same camp as you because I think we both came into that movie thinking Rosemary's Baby is a horror movie. It's kind of not.
It is and it isn't.
For like 3/4 of it, it's not.
Yeah. But I wanted to mention it here because I've sort of softened on my initial reaction. If you go and listen to that episode on Patreon, I think we were both kind of like, about it.
Mm-hmm.
But as the months have passed and I've kind of let it steep in my brain, I want to go back to it sometime.
That's fair.
That's kind of where I've landed. But my 5 nominees, one that you mentioned already, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's such a goddamn gorgeous looking movie. Guillermo del Toro has our hearts. I just really want to look at that again. And the worst part about that is, if it gets nominated for Best Picture, we have to wait longer because we also won't rewatch movies if they're nominated for Best Picture.
We would have to wait until after the Oscars to watch it.
So if it gets in there, we have to prolong this wanting to rewatch.
We'll just watch The Thing twice then.
There you go. My next movie is The Last Picture Show.
Yeah.
So where you had Dog Day Afternoon, and a movie from the 70s, an all-time classic, this is my movie from the 70s that's considered an all-time classic. And I'm just sort of shocked it took me this long in my life to actually watch it, because if you listen to that episode, it is such a familiar movie to me in the way that when we saw Nebraska and had kind of low expectations for that movie, we saw our own lives living in South Dakota sort of reflected on the screen. We know these people. We know what this is like. I had very similar feelings watching The Last Picture Show. I don't know why this one is sort of slipping into the background when people are talking about the best movies of all time. I feel like this one is starting to slip away a little bit.
It is a little bit, mainly because the folks who actually remember the time period that is being depicted on screen are all dying off. Even the kids who are depicted in the movie would have been basically like my parents' age or a little bit older. Like my folks were born in the mid 40s. So that's maybe the reason why. But I think I'm also on your side as to, I kind of want to watch that movie again because I didn't really know what to expect going in. It was kind of a slow burn, but by choice.
My next nominee was, of course, your pick, The Thing.
Yeah.
Because like you, I had a great time watching that in the movie theater. And we watched a digital scan of a 35 millimeter print. So it was all grainy and poppy and a representation of like, this is kind of what it would be like to watch this in the theater in the 1980s.
Yep.
And your response when we left was, I want to watch it in 4K. I want to see every little line in detail.
I ordered the 4K disc like the next day.
It showed up like 3 days later. Yeah, it's been in your possession since. So you are itching to get that thing in the player. My fourth pick is Sinners. Because Trent, I was revisiting that episode. I was looking at the pictures. I'm hearing the buzz about the Oscars. And I'm just like, damn, that was a good movie. And it lived up to the hype. And I really would like to see it again.
Yeah.
And my fifth one is The Fisher King. For all the reasons I mentioned before, it really surprised me. It was just something I wasn't expecting, and it moved me in a way I didn't expect, so I wanted to include it in this bunch. But you'll be happy to know my movie is also The Thing.
Hell yeah!
Which means the first thing we're going to be doing after this is probably watching The Thing.
I'm so fucking happy. All right. Moving on to yet another brand new category, guys. I'm very excited about this one because this one's a thinker. We don't have nearly enough actor categories in this show, so we decided to include this brand new one called Best Villain. Now, I said it's a thinker. You got to open up your mind here because the villain doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be an idea. It could be an object. It could be a person, place, or thing or idea. Betsy, what do you have for this category, this brand new category? Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm going to go from the least to the most unhinged.
Okay. All right.
So the first here are going to be pretty traditional choices for a villain.
Okay.
The first on my list is Michael Myers in Halloween.
All right.
Not an actor per se, but the character, because watching Halloween was the first time that I actually went upstairs after watching the movie and was looking over my fucking shoulder. Like, I'm not even kidding you. That dude's like the Terminator. He freaks me the fuck out.
And it's a character that has lived on
and transcended,
metaphorically speaking,
transcended the franchise.
Transcended culture. Yeah, I like that pick.
My second pick is Remick, the vampire from Sinners, because there is something really eerie about a little Irish dude singing songs and sucking blood.
Okay, all right.
My third choice is Max Cady from Cape Fear, so the Robert De Niro character.
Yeah.
Another guy who's kind of like the Terminator. He just keeps coming after you. He won't be stopped.
He does not feel pain.
Yeah.
He will not be stopped.
He's really intense. His motivations are unfortunately somewhat justified when you watch the movie and you find out why he's doing the things he is doing. But he is freaky and it's a mindfuck of a movie. Now here's where we're going to start getting more abstract. My next selection is Americans.
Okay. Do you have like a movie here?
I have several movies, Trent.
Okay.
Americans are the villain in The Brutalist, Nickel Boys, Platoon, Civil War, Full Metal Jacket, Starman, and One Battle After Another.
You can just keep on going.
And my final nominee, and this is more personal, the French for giving us Amelia Perez.
Okay.
I
thought about
felt
doing something like this, not
personally
this.
victimized by the villainous French.
Just all of the French.
I blame the French because
Okay.
it was their damn movie and I hated it. So I had to include them as villains.
Okay.
But I have
What's your winner?
selected as the best villain the Americans, Trent. The
Of
Americans
course.
are the villain.
Of course. Okay. Oh boy, I got something to live up to here. Well, I'm just going to start way batshit because I got to match your freak here. My first nominee is white people in Sinners.
Yes.
White people in Sinners.
Yes.
That's the villain. I couldn't just pick the Irish guy.
No.
Next is Tommy Wiseau in The Room. He is everybody's villain in that movie, on that set, in the world. He is a villain.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Next up is Jake Busey in Contact. Because
Oh, yeah.
he's the guy who sabotages the fucking trip up there. And yeah, I even said in the episode, fuck you, Jake Busey. Yeah. Next, I got Robert De Niro in Cape Fear.
Okay, so a little crossover.
Yeah. So in that movie, he plays completely against type, like you said. He is a crazed fucking sociopath, but is he? He is completely justified in his mind that he is scorned and he has a vendetta against this guy for a very, very good reason. He's just going about getting his revenge in a really unhinged way. And just the fact that, hey, Robert De Niro as a villain in a movie, as a bad guy, never see it before. Oh, so great. And my final one is Sean Penn in One Battle After Another.
Yeah.
Speaking of white people, he is the big bad in that entire movie. But my winner, Betsy, is Robert De Niro in Cape Fear.
Yeah. I get that.
I was so goddamn impressed with him. And we have said this already a few times just during this year. A guy like De Niro and Pacino and all of these old guys who fucking got typecast later in their careers to be just the gangster or the criminal or
the cop, the detective.
yeah, just being cops and robbers and that kind of shit. I've never really been able to see him play roles like this. So you got to go way, way back in their career to even find it.
I'm not mad at that pick. Like I said, I included him, so.
Yeah. But I do have some runners up. I have to say.
Okay, rapid fire. Give them to me, Trent.
Okay. In the same vein as white people in Sinners, I chose boomers in Crimson Tide. Old guys wanting to do it their way. There's no other way that it can be done. And you're not listening to younger and smarter people. And my other one is just man's hubris in Jaws.
Yeah. Oh, I have a whole bunch of these, Trent, because there were some repeated themes that we had. I had witches.
Yep.
We had a lot of movies with witches. Conformity, Body Snatchers, The Brutalist, Wicked, One Battle After Another. The devil in those details is conformity.
Yep.
Carnies,
Yeah.
The Elephant Man, and Wicked.
Fuck yeah.
And like Tommy Wiseau, I put Sylvester Stallone in The Making of Cobra.
Yeah,
he was the villain on that
you
set.
really got to know the backstory on Cobra to really get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, this is a fun category, and I think you may be seeing this again in the future.
I guarantee it.
But that gives us an interesting segue, Trent, because that may be returning in the future. But our next category is movie you never want to see again.
Oh, I got a list here.
Trent, what are your nominees?
I'm just going to start off with Amelia Perez. Fuck that movie. I'm never going to watch it again. It should have never been nominated for Best Picture. I'm sorry we had to cover it. That's my piece. Next is Wag the Dog.
Yeah.
I came into that movie thinking it's going to be this kind of a movie, and it's into politics, it's into comedy, it's into satire, it's into a whole lot of stuff that I'm into. I came out of that movie saying, fuck this movie. I hate this movie. Not because it's a bad movie. It was done poorly or anything like that. It's just the content of the movie pissed me off.
It's a well-made movie that you cannot forgive or accept.
Yeah. Next, Fever Pitch.
Oh no.
I had heard Fever Pitch might have actually been a movie that I might have liked. I was kind of interested in seeing it back when it was brand new because people were talking about it. It was right after the fucking Red Sox won the World Series and it was just in the air. But the more I watched that movie and the more we were kind of talking about it in that Real Love episode, the more I'm like, no, this movie fucking sucks. These people are terrible. Drew Barrymore is a terrible actress, and so is Jimmy Fallon. Fuck that movie. Next is Irish Wish. Another one in the pantheon of Real Love. 2 years in a row, apparently Real Love becomes the Irish love story because we did this last year and we did it this year. This one just happens to star Lindsay Lohan, and it's a garbage ass movie. It sucks.
It's a made for TV movie on Netflix.
It's a made for Netflix movie.
Yes.
It's even worse. Again, with more Real Love. Betsy, we covered The Wedding Planner also on Real Love, and I never want to see that movie again because I got so angry at the end of that movie. If you know anything about how the movie ends and where it ends and what the temperature is and
you have problems with the logistics of how they play out a movie set in San Francisco.
It's a lot worse than that. But my winner, Betsy, surprisingly, is Wag the Dog. I took that movie personally, how it made me so angry that it is as cynical as it is, even back in the 90s, where today the shit happening in the movie in the 90s is kind of happening in real life today. It's really fucking disgusting.
And where it was a funny satire in the 90s, it is without humor now. I can't
watch that movie and have a good time. Betsy, what are your 5?
My first selection is another from the Wayback Machine, where we watched The Cannonball Run.
I knew exactly where you were going as soon as you said Wayback Machine.
Is it the worst movie I've ever seen? No, but it's about 90 minutes of just chaos for the sake of chaos.
And
it's the kind
dated
of
jokes.
And dated jokes. It's the kind of movie that you just can't get away with anymore. And it has not aged well. And I would like to just never talk about it again. So, Cannonball Run. The next one, Swim Fan. We watched that. The Wayback Machine was doing me dirty this year. Swim Fan. There's some fun that could be had here, but I did it. We watched it. I'm going to move on with my life. I don't think I ever have to revisit that garbage movie. Like you, I picked Emilia Perez because fuck that movie. And that's all I'll say.
Nothing more needs to be said.
I, too, have a Jennifer Lopez movie, but I have selected Gigli. I can't believe you are still considering that perhaps Gigli is one you could watch again.
We talked about that in that episode. I would actually watch Gigli again.
Hell no. I'm never watching Gigli again. That movie fucking sucks. It lived up to its reputation as being terrible.
Betsy, it's actually one of my runners-up. So
oh, God.
You got a little bit of a pass there.
Good. And then my 5th to round out the category is The Scorpion King. I put off watching that fucking movie for 23 years. I could have put it off for the rest of my days. But my pick, Trent, because when looking at this group, if I was forced, you have to watch a movie, where do I draw the line and say, I am not watching that? I could sit and watch many of these if forced. I'm not watching Emilia Perez again. Fuck that movie.
That is fair. The other 2 runners up that I had was The Village, because again, it also pissed me off. And the more we do these Shyamalan movies, and it's going to happen next year, I promise you, we're going to continue on.
We're entering the dark days of Shyamalan.
The more of his movies I watch, the more I can't. And the last one is The Brutalist. Not because it's a bad movie, it's just fucking long.
It's an ordeal. You have to be really prepared for The Brutalist. And when are you ever going to be prepared for that?
No, never. Well, speaking of not being prepared, Betsy, our next category is entitled, What the Hell Did We Just Watch?
All caps.
It's all in caps. It's all in caps. Kind of self-explanatory here, but Betsy, why don't you go ahead?
My first nominee came from Never Scream It 101, where we watched Videodrome. That's a what the hell movie.
We spent a lot of time not only watching the movie, but also in the episode trying to understand what Videodrome actually was.
It's not easy to comprehend, and I feel like you're either going to get it or you're not, and I just don't think I got it.
I think I got it more than you, but
Probably.
Yeah. Continue.
My next nominee I just mentioned, Gigli. What the hell is Gigli? My third nominee, this category would not be complete without it. It's The Room, Trent. Like we knew before we watched it would be a what the hell. We just didn't know to what extent of what the hell it would be. It is a bizarro movie. I loved it and I hated it and I wanted more of it and I loved it and I hated it and I don't understand it.
You kind of run the gamut here as far
All
as
of the
emotions. Watching The Room, after watching The Room, that episode is just us being dumbfounded by what we
How
just
does
witnessed.
this movie exist?
Yeah.
My fourth nominee, I mentioned it earlier, it's Cocoon. It's old people, it's aliens, it's the Fountain of Youth. What the hell is Cocoon? And my final nominee is Cobra, because
Okay.
it's again one of those movies where it's like, okay, he's a hardened detective who plays by his own rules. And then there's a robot photo shoot. And then there's a guy who's chasing a woman through a hospital and it turns into a horror movie. And I'm just like, what is this? We're doing quippy one-liners, but it's also very, very serious. But also the plot, when we get to the actual plot of the movie, is like, what the fuck? What is this movie?
Yep. And that's why I like it.
Me too. But it did make me say, what the hell? My winner, though, is Cocoon, because it is such a strange movie. And it also made me cry. I didn't understand what was happening to me watching that film.
It's a bunch of geriatrics talking about their boners and going into space and swimming and being old and retired. And Wilford Brimley is 49 in that movie. He's not a really, really old guy.
It also was nominated for and won many Academy Awards. What the hell is this movie, Trent?
Yeah.
But what are your selections for this category?
I will start there. I also have Cocoon on my list.
You!
So I knew a lot more about Cocoon than you did going into it. You didn't know a fucking thing.
I really did not.
But despite that, I'm still saying, what the hell did we just watch? Because I did not expect there to be this ending. I didn't expect people to go off into fucking space. I didn't expect all of the hard-on humor with these old guys. It's a good movie, but I'm still asking, what the fuck was that? My next nominee, Betsy, I'm really surprised you didn't put this on yours, is Logan's Run, a sci-fi movie that came out in 1976. We covered it for our Big Movie May 1970s edition that we did concurrently with the Revisionist Almanac show. But it's a sci-fi movie that came out in the 70s that looks like it was made in the 1960s just because of the look of everything and the production of everything. But the more you look at it, the more you're in that world, the more you just don't understand it. My next one is actually one that you had just mentioned before, The Cannonball Run. What the hell even is this movie? These movies themselves don't really exist anymore. It's a bunch of celebrities, really B-tier celebrities, being put into a movie to have funny things happen to them.
And it's also about 20 years too late, because it's the kind of thing they were making in like the 50s and the 60s. And this came out in the early 80s, I think.
Like I said, it is B actors, B-tier actors being thrown in this fucking movie. And Burt Reynolds, of course. My next nominee is Videodrome. As you said, that movie is fucking bonkers. I think, again, I got it more than you did, but there were so many questions that I had coming out of that movie that I don't think there even are answers. There's a lot of different discussions that have been had on the internet over the decades since Videodrome came out, and they're all correct as far as I'm concerned. all of the theories out there about the internet and the connection between the internet and the television and media and Canada. There's all sorts of different things happening in that movie that I don't fucking understand. My last nominee is Starman, because even though it is kind of a sweet movie with a sweet ending and a sweet message, it's still fucked up.
It's still a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, it is still a John Carpenter movie at its heart, but there's still some sections in that movie that just don't make any sense. I really liked Starman. I just had a whole lot of questions about what it was that I was looking at. But in the end, I had to go back and select Videodrome as what the hell did we just watch. I'm surprised that you didn't have that as your winner.
I think it's because in context, that one at least knows what it's trying to be. Cocoon is so many things that I'm just left confused.
Fair enough. Well, all right, we're about halfway through our list here, guys. Let's take a break here. Let's compose ourselves. We will be right back after a word from our sponsor. Stick around. You know, recently I've been bored and feeling out of sorts. My normal podcasts just weren't cutting it anymore, so I talked to my doctor, and she recommended patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and now I feel better than ever.
Patreon.com/neverseenitpod is a once-weekly subscription podcast used to create joy. Side effects may include a sense of euphoria, aching muscles from smiling, and a dependence on the host's addictive personalities. Do not take this podcast if you are allergic to fun, have a history of laughing until you pee, or are afraid of a good time.
Talk to your doctor about patreon.com/neverseenitpod today. And we're back. Betsy, what is our next category?
From the weird to the beautiful, Trent, our next category is the best looking movie. Who do you have as your nominees?
Betsy, I think this category might have been one of the hardest ones to really drill down, because there's so many different ways that you can interpret best looking movie. It could be the set design, it could be the landscape shots, it could be the fucking cast to look at.
I'm agreeing with you because I was tormented over this category last night, trying to narrow down my nominees, because there's objectively beautiful movies, but then it's what do I actually like? Because I threw out some nominees that would shock people. You're not getting them because I don't want you to come after me. But
I don't care.
You could just look at the list of movies we watched, and then when you hear my nominees, you'll see what is missing. And yes, I'm so sorry I had to cut something.
And just look at all of the movies that we've covered this year, and you'll know how hard this was. So I'm going to start off with a fucking banger. Blade Runner 2049, the follow-up to last year's winner, Blade Runner, that I chose for best looking movie. I had to include it in here because Denis Villeneuve knows how to make a goddamn movie. Oh my God. Next one, Frankenstein. Another one, Betsy. Guillermo del Toro knows how to set dress his movies. If these two guys were in a category every single year, I don't know if we would continue this category. Maybe we would just name it after them. So Frankenstein is in there. Next, The Thing. Okay? Not because, hey, it's really cool to look at by like the landscape shots or the actors or anything. No. I'm saying all of the practical effects. I said in that episode, God damn it, why can't we make movies like this anymore? Why can't we do practical effects anymore that just are still impressive today, 40 plus years later? Next, here's your landscape shots, everybody. Sicario.
Yeah. There's a lot of really beautiful outdoor shots in that movie.
Oh my God. Sicario. I was listening to that episode again, just hearing ourselves talk about the very specific scenes that we were referring to in that movie. It's just incredible. And I think you even said, I can't remember if it was this movie or Blade Runner, you want one of those like digital picture frames to just show shots of the movies.
It was Blade Runner.
Was it Blade Runner?
I
Okay.
want frames from Blade Runner 2049.
Sicario would work too.
Yeah, just digital photography of shots of the movie. It would be gorgeous. Every single frame.
And my final nominee is Cape Fear. Not because, again, not because it is a gorgeous thing to look at. It is just seeing Martin Scorsese look through the camera lens as if he is Alfred Hitchcock. You don't see a whole lot of directors doing homages to other directors anymore because I don't think studios really want that.
I don't think audiences necessarily do either, because by the early 90s, Scorsese's already got a reputation, which is probably why this one gets sort of forgotten.
Yeah, people don't think about it as a Scorsese movie. But that is not my winner. Betsy, it's 2 for 2. Blade Runner 2049 is my winner of this category for Best Looking Movie.
Awesome. Well, Trent, my first nominee is something we have not talked about at all, and it's Nickel Boys.
Oh, right.
Because this movie is from a first-person perspective. And if that doesn't work, the movie doesn't work at all. And I have never seen a movie like this. At first, it's a little jarring when they're introducing the concept, but once you settle in, it is one of the most interesting ways I have ever seen a movie shot.
The presentation is kind of what makes it unique.
Yes.
Because that movie did not get nominated for any other category at all that year.
I think it was up for like 2.
No, it was
just the
one.
It was up
one.
for Best Picture, and
Best
that's
Picture.
it.
It was some of its
That's
parts,
insane.
and that's it.
That is insane. But it is a great movie. Like I said, it's all about how it looks. My next nominee is Frankenstein.
Hell yeah.
Because as I said, every frame is a picture, every beautiful shot, every exquisite. And also, if you want to interpret it thusly, the cast is beautiful. You know,
Sure.
Jacob Elordi is a gorgeous 6'5" man. Oscar Isaac is daddy. Hello. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you can interpret it, but Frankenstein, absolutely. I'm including The Brutalist because this was another one of those VistaVision movies. And I did the thing I told you I often do when I'm not sure which way I'm going in this category, because I had a lot to pick from. I go to the IMDb page and I just look at stills from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was so beautiful. All of that warm, natural light, a lot outdoors. You're getting such a field of vision because they used the VistaVision cameras. The architecture is amazing. The drawing is interesting. It is a beautiful movie.
For the same reason that you just said there, I almost put One Battle After Another on my list.
Yeah.
Because of the VistaVision and what you're able to do with those camera lenses. I'm really hoping that we're going to get more and more of these movies now that there's a lot of these camera lenses out there again. And more of these filmmakers are discovering what you can do with that.
Get Giovanni Ribisi on the phone.
That's
He's
right.
your guy.
He's your collector.
My fourth nominee, this is another one that has not come up at all yet. It is Suspiria, the Dario Argento movie from the 1970s. It is such a vibes movie, and he is using really, really striking colors, and the way that people are framed in the camera with like mirrors, and you're seeing reflections, and there's always something going on in every inch of the screen, and it is green and red and eerie, and it's so unique compared to a lot of the things we watched this year.
Yeah, when you think about that movie, it is more about the color and the lighting more than any other movie that I think we've covered this year or maybe anywhere. Very unique.
And my last nominee for the category is The Elephant Man. And the reason I picked this one is I said it in that episode, or at least if I didn't say it, I was thinking it. If you didn't tell me this movie was made in 1980, if I just didn't know who Anthony Hopkins was, if I didn't know any of these actors, you could have handed me this movie and I would have 100% believed it came out in like 1942.
Or even earlier.
Or even earlier. He was so good in his production design, whoever his production designer was there, and his cinematographer. David Lynch had an absolute homage to a very specific kind of movie. I said, I wonder if he was drawing from like Universal monster movies, because that's the vibe I was getting from it. If you didn't tell me that's when it was made, I would have believed it was made 40 years earlier. And it was so beautiful and so well done that I had to include it. So a lot of really interesting looking movies for different reasons, but I picked Frankenstein. It's just so goddamn gorgeous. And
I had such a hard time picking between them.
I know. I was just looking at this list and I told you, I got a lot of runners up on here and it would be really embarrassing for me to tell you.
I'm just going to say my runners up right now. I've got Sinners on my list because
it's there.
He also uses these aspect ratios here. He used IMAX cameras for the finale of that movie. It's so goddamn gorgeous. Another gorgeous movie is Wicked Part 1. It is so colorful and so happy, and it just brings you into that world.
Minus the backlighting in certain
I don't
scenarios.
give a fuck about that. Shut the fuck up, internet. And the last one I had was Tron Legacy. Even though it came out in 2010, the CG in that movie fucking holds up. Yeah.
I so badly wanted to find a place for Tron Legacy here, but there's just so many beautiful movies we watched this year. I pushed movies in and out of this category for like an hour last night.
Oh yeah.
I
could have kept going. Yeah. Anyway, another brand new category, Betsy, because you and I have decided that we're finally taking the plunge. We are giving ourselves an education. We made an entire brand new show on Patreon for just this purpose. We are giving ourselves an education in horror on Never Scream It 101. This category is entitled Best Horror Movie. We don't do any other kinds of genre categories in our stuff because we cover all sorts of different movies on our show. It's really hard to drill it down. But because we have made an effort this year to really watch a whole lot of horror movies, we created an entire category. So Betsy, go ahead with your top 5.
My first nominee is Sinners. This was not something we did.
I wouldn't have even thought about Sinners as one.
I'm going to screw up your nominees probably by saying that.
Boy.
But yes, Sinners is a horror movie. It is a vampire movie. It is about the horrors within, if you will.
Fuck, I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, it is a genre movie, Trent, which is why it is going to be interesting when it gets to the Academy Awards because a lot of genre movies never make it that way.
You're right.
It's because it's more than just that, which is why you didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
But it is a fucking vampire movie, Trent. Okay? So that was my first pick. My second pick is The Thing for all of the reasons we already mentioned. My third nominee is Halloween. Yes, listeners, we had never watched Halloween until we finally did it this October on Never Scream It 101. And it is a movie that lives up to the hype, so I'm really glad we finally did it. My fourth nominee. This is one I picked that might surprise you, but I just had such fun watching it. It's the 1950s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We did a sci-fi horror movie for that show, and it is just so cheesy and so silly and so over the top, but I had a blast.
Betsy, I didn't mention any of my runners up for most surprising, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers was on my long list anyway. I mean, I was just surprised that it was that good.
And it makes me want to watch the other versions of it because I've heard the one from the 70s is really good.
Yeah.
And my fifth nominee is Suspiria. You weren't that into it, Trent.
Ooh, okay.
But I'm going to tell you, I was riding the ride. I was vibing with the movie in a way that you definitely weren't. But if I'm talking about like all around, way it looked, way it sounded, way it made me feel, I had to include Suspiria, and there's a lot of bangers we watched this year.
Yeah.
The one that barely didn't make the cut was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm sorry, but I had to go with my heart, and my heart said Suspiria. But of these movies, Trent, I picked Halloween.
Wow, okay.
This was the best horror movie because there are a short list of iconic, transcendent horror movies. And you think, there's no way this movie is as good as everybody says. And then we watched Halloween. And as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I was looking over my fucking shoulder. It made me that uneasy. It freaked me out in a great way. It was so good. It was such a good movie. I have not stopped thinking about it. I definitely want to watch it again. I definitely want to watch more of them. That is a franchise that I'm curious to keep going because, unlike a lot of horror movies, there isn't a conclusion. Spoiler alert for the 45-year-old movie. There's a way you can keep making these films. And that is terrifying when it comes to horror. And we watched a few of those where it's just like, guess what? The evil thing that happened, we're not going to give you a conclusion to it. It's still out there. The evil still exists, and we could keep going with the story.
And this is one of the original one of those movies that kind of begs for more content. It begs for just more of this killer, of this character, whatever.
But you could also have just ended it, and that's it. One of the other movies I had on my short list was Black Christmas, and that's another one that's sort of like, oh shit, this is the end of the movie? Oh God. And you're left with the sense of dread. And there is no sequel to Black Christmas. That franchise doesn't exist. It just is this one movie. But you're left with that feeling of dread. Same thing in Halloween, where it's just like, you could have ended this franchise and I would have been left hanging with this, oh God, he's still out there feeling.
I think if they actually killed him at the end of Halloween, it would have made it a lesser movie. But yeah, good selections except for one. For my 5 for best horror movie of the year, I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Call back to the episode we did. Chainsaw is 2 different words in the title, so sue me. I really enjoyed that movie. We had a great conversations. Maybe one of the best episodes we've done all year.
We had a lot of fun in that episode.
We had a lot of fun this year. Next one. Pet Sematary, the winner of most surprising movie for me. Pet Sematary completely engulfed me in its world, and I had so many problems with this fucking family. Next, I already mentioned it before, but fucking Jaws is a horror movie.
Another genre movie, Trent.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget, but it is a horror movie.
Jaws, I mean, besides the fact that it's a killer shark coming after you, it covers so many different phobias. It's of water, of open spaces, of crowds, of all sorts of different phobias that you could talk about. But no, it's all of the above. So that's why it's on the list. Next, of course, is The Thing. You're going to be hearing a lot about The Thing in this special. I really enjoyed The Thing, and it's not because it's like boo scary. It's got some jump scares, yes, but the scary thing, and I think a lot of filmmakers have learned this over the years, the scary thing is not seeing what's happening, and it is the discontent happening between all of the men at this base. And my final nominee, Betsy, is Saw. I did not expect to fucking like Saw. I thought it was going to be this torture porn kind of a disgusting, bloody mess of a movie. I'm sure the sequels are kind of like that, but this one wasn't. But what really surprised me about Saw was its scope. I kind of thought going in that Saw was going to be just in this one room and we were never going to go outside of it. We weren't going to get a backstory of these guys in the room. We weren't going to get a backstory about the person who was causing this and given a reason why he's doing it. There's a lot of this stuff that gets fleshed out. Ha ha ha. But that's not my winner, Betsy. My winner, of course, is The Thing.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Shout out to Blake, who invited us to actually come and watch the movie at the theater with him for his birthday this year. Because I don't know when the hell else we were going to cover The Thing. I'm just really glad it was this year. But
You're
yes.
out here making his birthday dreams come true, Trent.
That's right. But all right, you already kind of mentioned that you're thinking about one of these movies still. But Betsy, what's our next category?
Our next category, Trent, is the movie you can't stop thinking about.
And this could be positive, it could be negative, it could be anything under the sun, but it is a movie that you're constantly reminded of.
So tell me, Trent, what movies are always on your mind?
I chose Dog Day Afternoon as my first nominee for all the reasons that I've kind of already said. The movie kind of has everything. And really the thing that was ringing in my head was just the overall quality. I was just marveling at how much I really like that movie. My next nominee, to no one's surprise, is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Not because, hey, it is a movie that is revered amongst all of the people in the world. No, it's because I listened to the music outside of the movie. I downloaded the soundtrack. Betsy has been listening to it non-fucking stop.
Yeah, if you're not following on social media, I leaned into a bit this year, and my number one most listened artist was John C. Reilly because
when
I was
she got
listening.
her Spotify Wrapped list, you were like the 0.005.
No.
What's the percentage
0.0003%
of John C. Reilly listeners?
And my number one song was one of the songs from Walk Hard.
Of course. So, unfortunately, Betsy, you can't actually have this on your list.
I can't because I had seen the movie. I saw it in the theater. I had seen it since then, but this was the first time we watched it together.
Yes. And not only because it's a great fucking movie, but the music has lived on outside of it. My next nominee is The Thing. I'm not going to go into it again. I keep on thinking about the movie. I want to watch it again. The next one is The Room, because again, how can you not be infected by The Room and all of its nonsense?
Yeah, we were going to go see it again. We were very close. Unfortunately, we had something else come up.
Yeah, we mentioned in the episode that one of the guys in the movie, he wrote a book. It's what the follow-up movie is based on. He came to our town not long ago, but we had something else going on, so we couldn't go.
Yeah, it was a super bummer. That would have been us breaking our own rule for that special reason.
Right. In the same kind of vein, I also had my final nominee is Videodrome. Another movie that I kept on thinking about because I wanted to understand it more.
Meanwhile, I just sort of stopped thinking about Videodrome.
You kind of had to push it out of your mind.
I pushed it out of my brain, and I haven't really thought about it since because I was like, this movie's weird and I don't understand it.
But my winner is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Love that. Love that for you. I'm so happy.
I was so impressed by the movie and by John C. Reilly and everybody involved in that movie. I had such a great time watching it, and I'm really glad that I had the idea to watch it for our show.
It also worked out so perfectly because we had just watched A Complete Unknown.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a reference in one of the songs in Dewey Cox about the Wizard of Oz.
I know.
So it was just like, how is this happening? Plus, every single time there's a biopic now, you're gonna be thinking about Walk Hard.
I'm just really hoping we don't have to watch that Bruce Springsteen biopic movie this year.
God, I hope not. But Trent, my movies that I cannot stop thinking about. The first one is Judgment at Nuremberg, because it's one of those movies that uses real life footage intersplicing with the acting. And it was footage I had never seen. And it's about a topic that is really, really hard to watch. And it just kind of broke me in a way.
It kind of sticks on your soul.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can really describe it.
It's not a kind of movie that you're going to put on and you want to watch, but I do think you need to watch it. And once you have seen it, it is going to stay with you.
It's a part of you.
It is a part of me now.
It should be.
Yeah. So that one is definitely one. The Elephant Man, for all of the reasons I have already mentioned, I was a changed person after watching The Elephant Man.
Yep.
The Fisher King. I have mentioned this one a few times.
Yeah.
It's just been stewing on my brain. It's been going round and round ever since we watched it. Another from Jeff Timber, The Last Picture Show. For every reason I've already said before, it is just so familiar to me. It is something that I can't believe took me this long to watch. But I really felt a lot of things watching that movie. And then my last one is Frankenstein. So it's again, this is all a group I have already been mentioning throughout this episode because of reference other category where I talked about that.
Yeah.
The one I'm picking, though, is Judgment at Nuremberg, Trent. When I say I am like a different person having watched that movie, because it is about the Holocaust and all of the things that happened. And they use real footage of the Holocaust that I had never seen in my life. And it is for the benefit of the people in the movie, but it's also at the benefit of the people watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I was a wreck. I was a wreck of a human after that scene.
If you are not a changed person after watching that movie, then I don't know what to tell you. But we're going to talk more about that later. But for our next category, this one is the diametric opposition of most surprising. This one is entitled Most Disappointing. So it's an expectation game here. You thought you might have liked it, but you actually watched it and it was a bummer, or whatever interpretation you have for most disappointing. What are your 5 nominees?
So I've been hinting at this for a while, Trent. But as I've been listening to our episodes over the last couple of weeks, putting these things together, my disappointing category was exceptionally small because we watched so many amazing movies this year, even the ones that I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
They're like a good movie.
Yeah, maybe it didn't hit with you as much as you would have liked it to,
but
it's
it doesn't mean I was disappointed by it. Like
Sure.
Saw, I get it. I wasn't disappointed by Saw, so I can't put that in this category. It's genuinely just in the last few weeks that suddenly I found some things to fill this out.
Okay, I know where you're going here, but go ahead.
So the first one, I mentioned it earlier, Rosemary's Baby. I put it on here because, frankly, I had an expectation for this movie. I was disappointed by this movie, but we talked about it earlier. I do want to give this one a chance. I want to go back to it and see if I feel any differently about it because I've kind of been thinking more about it. I put this one as disappointing, and then as the weeks have gone on and I've been thinking more about it, I'm like, I don't know if this belongs here or not. But in the instant moment we watched it, I was disappointed. It's going in the list. My second nominee is Marathon Man. Similar to Rosemary's Baby, I had heard things about, there's this great scene and there's this great villain and it's really tense and really terrifying. I just sort of felt nothing about Marathon Man. The things they had told me I didn't feel. So I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
that's a movie that exists.
That's one of my runners up.
Dipping into the horror section, Event Horizon. This is one of those where I'm like, I hear through the grapevine, there is a longer version, there's more footage. This is not the vision he had for this movie. And you see the legs, you see all the potential, and then it just goes.
It could have been so great.
What could have been with Event Horizon? It's the great what if he had just gotten his way and put out his 2.5 hour cut of the movie. But it left me really feeling disappointed because it was kind of a mess. The next one is Wicked for Good. Everything you said about Wicked, I was a wreck at the end of that movie. I full body sobbed at the end of Wicked. I could not wait for Wicked for Good. And I just didn't care. I didn't care. I got in there and I'm like, the songs are not interesting. The new songs are not interesting. I don't understand anyone's motivations. The costumes are less exciting. The sets are less exciting. Everything is less.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is good about that Wicked sequel are the revelations at the end of the movie. But if you already knew those which you did, yeah, you kind of got nothing out of it. I did, though, but we're going to get to me in a minute.
And then my last nominee is 28 Years Later. Again, not because it's a bad movie, but maybe it just hits harder if you have kids. Like if you are in that dynamic and you are more invested, it hits differently. Or maybe if you're British, I think there's just something so fundamentally British that I don't get about those movies. We have watched all 3 in that franchise this year, and they're all fine. None of them speak to me on a level that I really feel passionately about, though.
To the point where we kind of don't even want to watch the next one.
I'm reserving the right to change my mind.
I know.
But you know what? I'll probably hear it's great, and then I'll feel the same way about that I feel about this one, because I heard this one was great. It's just maybe not a franchise for me. But my pick is Marathon Man. I think because it has everything I want in a movie, and then it just couldn't deliver for me in the way I really wanted it to.
Marathon Man is not on my list, but it is the very definition of being lesser than the sum of its parts. There are really great moments in
Yes.
Marathon Man. The acting in Marathon is really great. There are some scenes here that are fucking fantastic. The one with Roy Scheider in Paris, are you kidding me?
Sure. That's cool. I thought Dustin Hoffman was really good in it.
Yeah.
I didn't really particularly care for the villain. I just didn't think he was that scary.
No.
And I'm just like, I thought this
An
was supposed
old
to be
doddering Nazi man.
I thought this was supposed to be an iconic villain, and I just
Nope.
didn't get into it. So yeah, that's my pick.
I'm right there with you, but it is not on my list. Betsy, my list starts with Wag the Dog because again, this should be a movie for me. It has to do with politics. It is a satire, and it's based in an era of politics that I'm interested in, which is the 90s. But I said it before. Fuck that movie. It made me fucking angry. The next one might surprise people, but it's The Sting. We covered it back for Big Movie May, and I was bored.
Yeah. It's one of those where I respect it. I know why people liked it,
Yep.
but I don't think it's a Best Picture
I
winning
have
kind of
I
movie.
have seen so many more and better heist movies that have come after this, and having seen those and going to watch The Sting, I'm like, I'm expecting the twist. Where's the twist? There's no twist here. What the fuck? I already knew what's going to happen.
Even though there's kind of a twist, it's just like, yeah,
I
but
saw it coming, though.
I saw it coming.
Yeah. So, as I said in the episode, I was literally falling asleep during the course of the movie because there's just not enough meat on the bones there. But moving on to something in our bad movie series, Betsy, I put Wild Wild West as a disappointing movie because if you listen to me the previous episode saying I was really excited, and then you listen to the intro where I'm saying I'm really excited because you're the one building it up in my own mind because you seem to have had a really good time with it over the years. But after watching it, I'm like, no, I wanted this to be like a really fun bad movie, but it's not. It's just bad.
It's just bad. It's not fun bad. It's just bad.
Yeah. And like you, I'm just gonna echo what you just said, Betsy. My next two are Wicked for Good and 28 Years Later. In the same way that Wicked Part 1 was really, really surprising that I liked it, it got me really hyped to go and watch the sequel. I want to see the end of this story. Show me some more fantastical things and allow myself to be enveloped in the world again. I didn't get that with the sequel. And I know it's actually not a sequel. It is just the continuation of the same story, but even still, it doesn't have the same kind of magic or whimsy or even just fun. There's no fun in the sequel. But finishing off my list, 28 Years Later, you said it, Betsy. I can't help but be disappointed with the third in the trilogy. After so many years after the second and first ones, the band coming back together, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle coming after it yet again, it was just kind of blah for me. But my winner, Betsy, I'm sorry to say, is actually Wild Wild West. Because I really, really wanted it to be great.
You really wanted to have fun.
I wanted to have it be another movie that you and I can just throw on and have a good time watching. I can't do that with this.
Or turn it on and shit talk it because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Fuck.
just, it exists. It's a disappointment. And that's the end of that story. But Trent, we have many feelings while watching movies, which is going to bring us to our next category that we alluded to earlier.
Oh boy.
This is the movie that made you cry. And we've already mentioned it a few times. We cried a lot this year.
Yeah.
Trent, what are your 5 movies? Or frankly, all of your runners up, because I had a lot of movies that made me cry.
You had a lot this year, a lot more than me. My runners up are actually Dog Day Afternoon and Brokeback Mountain. Not necessarily ones where they're like making me well up or actually cry tears. There are other of those that did that, but it really made me feel the feelings. But my actual nominees, Betsy, starting off, you already mentioned it in a previous category, Judgment at Nuremberg, specifically when they're showing the footage in the courtroom, as you said, not necessarily just for the people in the movie, but for the audience themselves. I don't need to go into any details. My next nominee is Love Story because, again, very specifically, it is the scene at the end of the movie.
Oh, no. Don't say
scene
it.
at the end of the movie
Don't say it.
where the person's father is in the hallway coming out of a room. I don't need to say any more than that.
If you've seen Love Story, you know the scene.
Seen it, you know. Next is One Battle After Another. I mentioned it in the episode.
You did cry in that episode.
At the end of the movie, there is a father-daughter kind of a thing, and I'm a sucker for a dad story. That one really got to me. That's all I'll say. Next is The Fisher King.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a line here that I'm going to repeat. It's near the end of the movie. I'm not saying any kind of context, but the line is, "Can I miss her now?" And that really got to me. And the final one, and my winner, is The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to well up with tears myself right now. But again, it's another line from the movie. He says, "My life is full, for I am loved." I can't not really get emotional even when I say that line and I remember back to what that movie really did to me. Elephant Man is my winner.
Well, we're definitely going to have some crossover, but I'll quick give you my runners up because I cried more times this year. And this is just the stuff that I could nominate. I also cried during Love Story, but it's ineligible because I had seen
you had
the
already
movie.
seen it.
And I cried, I don't know, probably another half dozen times in other movies. But the things that made me cry that didn't get a nomination in this category: Cocoon, Platoon, Frankenstein, 28 Years Later, and K-pop Demon Hunters. All of these movies, I had at bare minimum a single tear rolling down my cheek, okay?
Oh, wow.
I am getting so emotional in my old age.
Yes.
But my nominees, I'll start with the ones that you already mentioned. Judgment at Nuremberg,
Yeah.
The Elephant Man, The Fisher King. The other one, and I mentioned this in the episode, surprised the hell out of me. I cried at the end of Sinners. And
I remember this.
I thought that was a fluke. And maybe I was just having a time that day. But months later, I saw that same clip just out of context and immediately started crying again.
It's the end credit scene.
The
For
last,
those who
yes.
haven't seen it, it is the end or like the mid credit scene, end credit scene, something like that.
Somebody in the movie says it was the best day of their life. And I just start crying. I don't know what it is about this scene, but it's just the culmination of the entire experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going on the list. And my last one, I said it earlier, Wicked, Part 1. I was full body sobbing in the theater at the end of Defying Gravity. I was ugly crying. And I figured, you know, I don't have any connection to this musical. It's not one that I know very well at all. I've never seen the stage production. I'm not going to feel anything, but maybe it's one you have to see to get it. Oh, I got it. I got it because, like I said, ugly crying in the theater. And we did break our one rule before seeing Wicked for good.
Yes.
And we did rewatch Wicked Part 1 because it had been so many months since we watched it. And I fully sobbed again. But my winner is The Elephant Man. Trent, if anybody goes to our Patreon and listens to that episode, you and I are fully crying, trying to hold our shit together to get through that episode. That is how hard we were crying watching The Elephant Man.
Both that and Judgment at Nuremberg. We
Yes.
both are crying during those episodes.
But especially
during the recording, we are crying, and that's why it's on Patreon and not out in the public.
But especially during The Elephant Man, we were a mess.
We really were. But yeah, winner.
Winner? Question mark?
Yeah. But let's bring it up a little bit here. This is a fun one. It's also going to be fucking long. This category is maybe my favorite. It is favorite moment or sequence. It is a little moment in a movie that you really like to look at, or an entire sequence of scenes that all kind of go together. Betsy, what are your top 5?
My first nominee is Maximilian Schell's speech in Judgment at Nuremberg. It's another one of those moments that's really meant for the people watching the movie. And when I wrote this down, I'm like, I'm not even sure anymore which speech I was talking about, because every time that man gives a big speech, it's incredible. But basically, if you want to summarize it, anytime he talks, anytime he gives a big speech, it's incredible. He is a sensational actor. He 100% deserved to win his Academy Award for this movie.
I'm going to give you context when I talk about mine.
My second favorite moment is Sonny's gun goes off and there are 40 quick edits in Dog Day Afternoon. It's a really specific moment that is so chaotic, but it is wild and wonderful to watch. And it's all just sort of, the gun goes off by mistake. It's an accident, and then it's just cut, 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 cut. And it's absolutely overwhelming to the senses, but it's so well done. My next nominee is when we're in Grand Central Station in The Fisher King and everyone starts waltzing.
I'm pumping my fist right now.
Unexpected in every single way, and I was getting emotional watching it. My fourth nominee is the sequence in Death Proof when the girl is riding on the hood of the car.
Fuck, I totally forgot about that one. Yeah.
They are really doing that. That woman is a stunt woman, and she is riding on the hood of that moving vehicle.
At a high speed.
At a high speed. It is absolutely her, which is what makes it so terrifying, because it's about a stunt woman, and she really is a stunt woman. And you can almost always tell when it's not that person. But because they cast an actual stunt woman, you can tell it's her, and you can tell she's really doing it. And when Kurt Russell comes along and starts chasing them, it is one of the most terrifying movie sequences I think I've ever seen. I was holding my breath. I was overwhelmed by that sequence. It was absolutely sensational. And my fifth nominee is the scene in Sinners when he is singing and we are traveling through time. Everything is enveloping around him, and then we cut out to the barn has burned down and the vampires are standing there watching. My winner, though, is the waltzing in Grand Central Station. It is one of the single most beautiful, unexpected, magical things I have ever seen in a movie.
The word that we used over and over again in that movie, in that episode, is magical. And leave it to a guy like Terry Gilliam, of all people, to present this movie in such a way.
And it just kind of comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, your brain clocks what's going on around you, and it's just gorgeous. I loved it.
Surprisingly, Betsy, that scene did not make my list. It is one of my runners up, though, and I'm sure we got a lot of other runners up.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I've got some overlap with yours. I'm going to say the way I wrote it is the musical evolution time-lapse scene in Sinners. Mm-hmm. It is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in a movie, especially this year. Just so great. One thing that I made sure to point out to myself in the recording of Blade Runner 2049, you're not going to understand this outside of the context of the movie, but somebody is constructing, think about AI prompts. We don't like to talk about AI on this thing, but think about AI prompts, and you're giving an AI a prompt to create a scene. But in this case, it is actually a person who is constructing it. She is building a memory of a child's birthday party. Think about a child's birthday party. You have a cake, you have kids, you have birthday hats, you have all sorts of different decorations. She is manipulating this scene in front of her to be perfect. That thing left such an impression on me. I loved it. My next one is, again, what I wrote down is the panic/chaos in Dog Day Afternoon when a gun goes off and everybody starts yelling. Up to that point in the movie, it is kind of a funny slapstick kind of a thing where it's just these couple of buffoons in a bank who's trying to rob it, and it's going poorly. But then a gun goes off and the direction of the movie completely fucking changes. It turns into a bank heist action movie.
For just a second.
It isn't a bank heist action movie.
No, for the most part of the movie, it is really not. But I'm amazed that we picked that exact same moment, which is a movie full of great moments.
Absolutely. But that one right there impressed me so much that it completely takes you out of the movie that you were just watching, turns it into something else, and then in a fucking minute, it's done, and you're back to what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So great. Next is the testing the blood sequence in The Thing, when he's going around taking blood samples from everybody, putting it into this little petri dish, and you have no idea what the reaction is going to be, if there even is going to be a reaction.
There's so much tension.
Yeah.
It is palpable.
Oh, it's so great. But my last nominee, Betsy, and my winner is the Maximilian Schell scene right after. This is the next day in the course of the movie. It is right after they show the Holocaust footage in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
The Maximilian Schell character is up at that podium, and he is basically saying, yeah, I'm up here and I have to defend all this stuff, but I can't defend any of that. It never should have happened. But what you are trying to do as prosecutors here is try to infect the jury, which in this case are actually a bunch of judges. You're trying to infect the jury with something or an idea of something that these men who were on trial were not directly responsible for. And he keeps on going down this path of this trial is not about what these men did. Like, what the main goal of the prosecutors is to convict the lot of the country. And the question becomes, where do you stop? Do you stop with just the high command? Do you stop with the generals? Do you stop with the soldiers? Do you stop with the people who were bringing food to the concentration camps? Do you stop to the janitors who were doing their jobs? Where do you stop? And his speech here in this movie is probably the best moment of acting I think I have ever seen in a goddamn movie. So that is why it is my winner.
It's a phenomenal sequence. Like I said, anytime he gets up and gives a speech, and I imagine that's the one I meant. I wrote down this note some time ago.
I'm sure you did, yeah.
Because that scene leaves an impact. It is absolutely a monumental moment in the movie, and it is the core of what we're trying to say with the whole movie.
And it surprisingly makes you kind of get on his side to a point. Not that, yeah, what was shown here, that's not bad at all. No, not at all. It is just that you guys are trying to extrapolate so much out of this and try to convict the lot of the country, but that's not what this is all about. It's about these men who are on trial for these crimes in particular. Do not be distracted by the overall carnage and horror of what you just witnessed. You need to be objective. And he is surprisingly effective. But all right, moving on. Our penultimate category. And this is going to be a lot more upbeat. We're sorry for some of the downer categories here sometimes.
Oh yeah, we love having fun. It just is that we've watched a lot of serious movies this year that are actually really, really great and made us feel a lot of feelings. And it would be in poor form for us to ignore that, because it's just true. We loved these really serious movies this year. But Trent, this may be our favorite category because it is time for the Peter Stormare Spirit Award. If you have ever watched, let's say, Fargo or Constantine or Minority Report or Jurassic Park: The Lost World, you have seen Peter Stormare in something. Perhaps it was Armageddon. He is a great character actor who shows up, is usually an eccentric weirdo, and then you don't see him the rest of the movie. And we love him so much that we named this category in his honor for the supporting actor, the supporting appearance that just made such a mark, we wanted to shine a light on it. So Trent, tell us, who are your Peter Stormare Spirit Award nominees for 2025?
I'm so excited. My first nominee, the only good fucking thing in this movie, it's Fred Willard as Basil St. Mosley in The Wedding Planner. He is the dance instructor who is in one fucking scene. He looks ridiculous. He sounds ridiculous. He looks ridiculous. And yeah, he is one of the best things, the only great thing in that fucking movie.
I already completely forgot because, as I said, I couldn't include it. So I didn't even re-listen to that episode.
Oh, Basil St. Mosley. What the fuck? Next is Tim Meadows in Walk Hard.
You don't want any part of this shit, Dewey.
Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want any part of this, man. Oh, man. Next, a fucking all-timer. Michael Sheen in Tron Legacy.
Oh, I said it.
Showing up as a goddamn weirdo with his cane and just doing a goddamn, what's the name of the actor?
Charlie Chaplin?
He's doing a Charlie Chaplin thing.
I said it when we watched that episode. It was like coming in hot
Yeah.
for that award.
I couldn't not include him in this. But my next one, Betsy, you're not going to know this man's name, but you know the character. The actor's name is Roscoe Lee Brown, otherwise known as Box from Logan's Run.
No.
How could we ever forget about Box? He is in one of the weirdest fucking scenes in that entire weird fucking movie.
His job is freeze.
His job is freeze. His name is Box.
That is a deep cut for this category.
I know. But
he-
you remember him.
I do. And he made you happy, apparently.
He's in one scene and one scene only. Yeah. But my final and most important winner of this category is Michael Jeter in The Fisher King as the homeless cabaret singer. That's how he's credited, by the way.
Yep.
If you don't know the name Michael Jeter, you probably should, because he was in a lot of your favorite movies from the 90s. I think he's most known for being in The Green Mile as the guy with the mouse.
He was also in the second Sister Act movie.
Okay,
He was also on Sesame Street.
that's right. But you absolutely know his face.
You've seen him in something.
Yeah. But of course, the most famous scene is him coming into an office complex to try to get the attention of this woman. And he's in drag and doing this very strange performance thing that it just comes out of nowhere. And then he leaves. You never see him again. It's great. But what are your 5, Betsy?
Trent, I did something for this category that I have never done. And I'm kind of bending the rules. But when I was thinking about it, I don't think that you can say one name without saying the other.
Okay.
So I have a duo as one of my nominees. I put Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin for the Cannonball Run.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah,
don't think you can pick one over the other. They are the only thing I enjoyed about that movie. They're dressed as priests, they're drunk all the time, and frankly, they were probably drunk for real.
Absolutely, they were drunk.
They were driving around causing chaos. They were the only thing in that movie that I was like, okay, I'm
And they
enjoying
were just
this.
literally riffing on each other
Yes.
the entire movie.
And you can't just pick one of them. They only work as a set. So I had to pick both of them.
I will allow it.
My second nominee is Michael Sheen from Tron
yeah.
Legacy. He is so ridiculous in that movie because he was so excited to be in a Tron movie because
Yeah.
he loves Tron.
He's a huge Tron guy.
My third nominee is Michael Jeter for The Fisher King.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you got this too.
Trent, he's getting stomped in Central Park and he's like, I want to be crushed by a debutante or something insane. That's like the first thing out of his mouth. And then they carry him around New York and he's just like, no, leave me behind. He's so over the top and dramatic and it's fabulous. And I love every second he's in this movie. I am shocked you didn't include this person, Trent.
Oh no.
Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another.
I thought about him, but I think he's just too much of a supporting guy. A more part of the movie than maybe what these other guys are.
Well, no, I disagree. I think he is the best thing in that movie. I was
Yeah.
nominating him, full stop.
Okay, fine.
And my fifth nominee, you won't know this name, but you'll remember her character,
Oh no.
is Marion Waldman as the house mother in Black Christmas.
Yeah, I really should have put her in there, but yeah.
She shows up. She has all these little bottles of liquor hidden all over the house. She's talking to herself, doing a happy little dance while she drinks. It's funny every single time. I was so happy she was in this movie. But this is the second year in a row, Trent, where we have the same winner, Michael Jeter.
Hell yeah!
You are getting the Peter Stormare Spirit
Holy
Award.
shit, I never thought you were ever going to do that.
Why
Holy
not?
shit.
He was fabulous in that movie. He was one of the many things I loved about it.
Okay, I'm gonna say this, Betsy. I did not have him on my list until I re-listened to that episode and I was reminded of his presence in that movie. I'm so happy. But Betsy, that leaves us with one final category.
Oh, no.
And it is the favorite new movie that you watched this year.
I'm going to be so full of regret because this, oh my God,
is
Trent.
a fucking impossible task.
I had like 14 movies in this group. And once again, I just kept adding things and cutting things and moving things. I've made a decision. I'm going to probably immediately regret it. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I have made a decision.
What are your top 5, Betsy?
My nominees for favorite new movie that I watched in 2025. You're going to be sensing a theme because you've heard all of these titles before. There's nothing here that will surprise you.
Yep.
The Last Picture Show, The Thing, The Fisher King, Frankenstein, and The Elephant Man. And I went back and forth and stewed on this because then I looked at all my runners up that I didn't have in the 5, and there's some really awesome movies, but I had to pick something. And my favorite movie that we watched in 2025 is The Elephant Man.
Wow.
I said it earlier. I was a changed person after watching The Elephant Man. I have never cried so hard while we are recording the episode. It was deeply upsetting to me to watch that movie because I am a deeply empathetic person, and watching what he goes through in that movie was so hard for me.
It's heartbreaking.
It's a heartbreaking movie, but the quality of the movie is so high. It is beautiful to look at. The score is phenomenal. The lighting is gorgeous. The actual production design, it is such a quality movie on top of being this moving movie. And the acting is sensational. It's from top to bottom, just an amazing film.
And one thing that I don't think is really talked about all that much about not only this movie, but other movies where the actors are like this. John Hurt is the actor playing the Elephant Man here. You don't normally see big name actors, especially these days, act behind a mask. Actors usually want to have their faces on screen because not only does it help them act and actually emote to be able to see their face, but he's able to act behind all this makeup, behind this mask, behind all of the prosthetics on him.
He's acting through it.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's an incredible performance. It's so moving. I just was overwhelmed by it. And it's not something that I want to just throw on and experience, but I was so taken by the movie that I haven't stopped talking about it for 2 hours. And it had to be my choice, Trent. It had to be the one I picked.
Oh boy, Betsy. So, like you, I've had a really, really hard time picking my 5. Not just picking my favorite one, because that was hard in and of itself. We have covered so many fantastic movies this year. This final category has been hell. But I narrowed it down to my 5. And here we go. My first nominee is Jaws. Second nominee is Judgment at Nuremberg. Nominee number 3 is The Thing. Number 4 is Dog Day Afternoon. And my 5th and final nominee is Frankenstein. If I had a drum roll button, I would press it right now. But my favorite new movie I watched this year is Dog Day Afternoon. Much like a couple of other years that we've done this, I was so taken by the first watch of this movie, I knew right away that this is going to be a contender at the end of the year. But unlike other years where I was kind of bound and determined to make that movie my favorite movie, there were some other ones here that I watched after Dog Day Afternoon that gave it a run for its fucking money.
The fact we had so very many movies that were like, I want to include this, but I want to include this, but I want to include this.
If you saw the list of my runners up here, you would be upset.
Yeah, that's why I'm not including them in most of these categories, because we had to make some very, very difficult cuts this year in a way I don't think we've ever experienced.
I am kind of surprised just based on my own reaction to listening to the episode for The Thing. I'm kind of surprised that I still ended up with Dog Day Afternoon, but I had to look at the whole of the movie. It's the acting. It is the story. It is such a goddamn surprising topic. If you haven't watched Dog Day Afternoon in this year 2025, or at least this fucking century, you owe it to yourself to go back and marvel at what they were able to put on screen in 1975.
Thematically, it is unexpected. For a movie made in that year,
I had no idea that they were going to be covering this topic, and I'm not going to spoil it. I will never spoil that movie.
Because it does come out of nowhere.
It does.
In a great way. And yeah, I can't believe I didn't talk more about Dog Day Afternoon, because it is an all-time movie. It is an all-time great, fantastic fucking movie. And I didn't have room for it.
That's how fucking hard it is.
That should tell you the caliber of the movies that we experienced this year.
Oh my God.
The fact that I had no room for Dog Day Afternoon? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Al Pacino's probable best performance he has ever made in a movie. And that's saying something to talk about Al Pacino. But with that, I think that's where we can call this one. This has been our 5th annual Never Seen It award show. We did it. Holy crap.
Wow.
I think having 5 nominees per category this year definitely made this show longer, but at the very least, we had the opportunity to talk more about the movies that really deserve to have more context around them. Just saying the nominees doesn't give you the context here, and having more of them maybe gives you a better sense of where we're coming from.
And I really hope it inspires some people to go and listen to those episodes, because...
And watch the movies, of course.
Well, yeah, obviously. We had a really, really good time this year. There are some really interesting conversations that we had. That's speaking from my personal experience. I like talking to you, and we had so much fun with some. We had some really interesting conversations with others. You know, I didn't expect to come out the other side a changed person after watching certain movies, and here we are.
Yeah. And it's always fun because, of course, I said this earlier, I had no idea what Betsy was going to have for her nominees or her winners. And same thing with her not knowing mine.
We do not discuss this in advance.
We do this completely independently of each other. Yeah, we watch the movies together and we record an episode about them with our reactions, but... You know, my opinion might have changed since we even did the episode.
I definitely was finding that.
Yeah. So the more we talk about it, the more we re-listen to the episodes, the more we kind of ruminate on this stuff. And one thing that you're going to find out here is we didn't have a whole lot of stuff from this year, even though very recently we've been covering a whole lot of 2025 movies. The vast majority of our nominees and winners are all from the way past. So I think that is just an encapsulation of how we like to cover movies on this show and on our Patreon shows, especially with the Wayback Machine, where your winner this year came from that show.
We would never have programmed that on our own. I don't know where we would have said, let's watch The Elephant Man, if it were not for that particular show on Patreon.
It likely would have only come up if we were doing a David Lynch series.
Yeah. But it pushes it to the top. It forces our hand. It makes us watch it.
Yep.
And I'm so glad when those things happen, because now I get to sit here and talk to you about it.
The same thing happened with Judgment at Nuremberg. Where the hell else would we ever cover a movie like that other than if the Wayback Machine takes us to that year and we're forced to watch a movie from that month? So... guys, I hope you appreciate what we do for y'all. We really want to hear from you. Please email your thoughts about this show and all of our winners and nominees, or even just email us about the movies we're covering. email address neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Of course, we've already talked about all sorts of different movies we've covered on Patreon. That is patreon.com/neverseenitpod. Normally at the end of these award shows, we have a big announcement for y'all, but this year we don't have anything. We're continuing on with all of our current shows on Patreon. Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent will continue in its current form. And yeah, we're looking forward to continuing on in 2026.
We've got lots more in store for the new year as we close in on our 5th anniversary. That's coming up sooner rather than later.
That's
so
right.
Stay tuned for that. We've always got a never-ending watch list of movies to cover on this podcast.
It keeps on getting bigger.
Last night, just keeps getting bigger.
Last night, I pitched a series to Betsy. Last night when we were going through all of our fucking categories.
No, we won't be stopped. Trent will not stop. I will not stop. We hope you won't stop either.
So come back next week for another episode of Never Seen It. Until then, my name's Trent.
My name is Betsy.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.